All right, if we're all good, we can get started. I call the meeting to order. Roll call, Ms. Widener.
Dr. Campley? Mr. Fountain?
Here.
Mr. Keenan?
Here.
Here.
Mr. McKinney?
Here.
Dr. Sadler?
Here.
Mr. Saylor?
Here.
Dr. Weston?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here. 1.03, 1.04, Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silent reflection.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. 1.05, reading of the Perkiomen Valley Mission Statement. Mr. Saylor, would you mind?
The mission of the Perkiomen Valley School District is to cultivate an inclusive community of learners, empowered to grow intellectually, socially, and emotionally.
Thank you so much. 1.06, approval of the agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
Second. I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. 1.07, approval of the minutes. Request the approval of the minutes for the August 12th meeting and the September 3rd meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any question, against? Motion passes. Okay, 1.08, special recognition. Mr. McKinney and Dr. Russell will be making a presentation on behalf of the school board.
Where'd Mr. McKinney go? Where'd he go? Oh. I lost you for a minute. Well, good evening, everyone. It is our pleasure tonight to recognize some students who really had an unusual experience. They took a trip and they also conducted and provided some community service. So we want to talk to you a little bit more about that, read a description of their experience, and then call each of the students up by name. This is an unusual experience, an international trip for our school district, and we're very proud of what the students did. So in July, this past summer, with the support and encouragement of you, their parents, thank you for that, 15 students from Perkiomen Valley High School embarked on an 8-day journey, spending the majority of their time in the Sacred Valley of Peru. The students immersed themselves in the new culture, tasting unfamiliar foods, navigating a foreign language, and managing a different currency. They visited one of the new 7 wonders of the world and explored centuries-old Inca ruins. They also experienced traditional art forms and techniques passed down through generations. But more than just observing, they gave back. They offered their time, energy, and compassion to a local community and to girls their age who, without the support of individuals and organizations from the private sector, would not have access to education. They learned how to make mud bricks, from digging up the soil to sun-drying the finished products. Side by side with locals, they created about 180 bricks, which will help expand the existing boarding school and dormitory. As they molded bricks, they also shaped themselves into exemplary global citizens. I thank you for all that you did for the individuals in Peru this summer. Kaylin Boyle, Aislinn Pepper. Yes, when I call your name, please come up. And we will offer you a certificate, a Perkiomen Valley cookie, and then after the meeting, we'd like to take your picture. Aislinn Pepper. Christian Cortez. Thank you, Christian. Good job. Reese Poston. Brylan Kerfman. Sullivan Roop. I'll shake your hand a while. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll get the cookie. Brady Davis. Jackson Ruiz. Lillian Fike. Hi, Lillian. Congratulations. Thanks for doing that. Special cookie. Laura Schroyer. Hi, Laura. Congratulations. Good to see you. Legend Fields. Congratulations. Thank you. Anna Springer. Congratulations. Thanks for doing that. It's an easy job giving out the cookies. Zachary Krantz. Sophia Vesky. Congratulations. Thank you for doing that. And Brian McMonigal. All right. Once again, congratulations from the administration and the Board of School Directors for this trip and what you did for the students of that country. So thank you. You can give a round of applause.
We're going to do a 5-minute recess. We'll take some photos out in the lobby, and we will be back. All right, so then we will move on to 1.09, comments on any topic. Anyone in the public has the opportunity to comment for 3 minutes. They just need to state their name and municipality. I will open up the floor for any comments. Seeing none, we will move on to section 2, reports and presentations. 2.01 is the student liaisons report. Ms. Trembo, welcome back. And Mr. Lees, take it away.
Good evening. We hope you all had a good weekend and are ready for the week ahead. Just to give a brief introduction of myself since I wasn't here last week. My name is Claire Trumba and I'm a senior here at the high school. I'm on the varsity soccer and track team and I participate in other various activities here at school.
And then as for news from the student body, we'd just like to remind everybody that Meet the Teacher Night for the high school has been moved to Wednesday, September 25th, due to the recent power outage.
And finally, this Friday is the Vikings Unite football game. This annual event celebrates the diversity and inclusion at PV, and we'd like to encourage the community to show their support and attend in their blue gear. Thank you.
Wonderful, and it's also fall band night, so our middle school folks will be joining our marching band to do some pep tunes, which is it's going to be a big night. 2.02 is the President's Report. I have nothing. 2.03, Dr. Russell.
I have nothing new to add this week. Thank you.
Thank you. 2.04, Solicitor's Report.
No report this week.
Thank you so much. 2.05, Board and District Committee Reports. We did hold a policy meeting immediately prior to this meeting at 6 p.m. It was our first one in this format. I think it went very well. And our next meeting will be the 12th, which is the Education of the Whole meeting, and that will be at 7 p.m. here in the library.
Wellness at 6.
Oh, and Wellness, I'm so sorry. Wellness at 6. They're alphabetical on the sheet. Go ahead.
So I have a banquet on the 12th, so I won't be able to attend the wellness meeting.
Understood. If anybody would like to come as the 4th for Wellness, they would be welcome to. Thank you for letting us know, Mr. Saylor. Are there any other board and district committee reports that should be mentioned? Okie dokie. Seeing none, move on to section 3, the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Is there any comment or question?
I would like to offer some information, if I may, Ms. White. There were a couple of different questions about item 7.07, department chairs. So I thought I would offer some explanation and additional information about item .7.07, which does appear on the consent. I'm going to jump to that item. As part of our collective bargaining unit, that's the agreement with our Teachers Association, there are department chair positions. You can see all positions listed here. There are some that are specific to the high school, and there are others that straddle both elementary and middle school. Sometimes teachers opt to share. They're not obligated to, but they opt to do that. They appreciate having a partner in this leadership role, and that is something that's supported by administration. So you'll see, for example, high school English, the first two listed, is a department chair position that's shared. The stipend, as indicated in the collective bargaining agreement, is split between the two. If we jump down to businesses K-12, some elective areas actually span K-12. Business, art, music, health. Now, music was shared last year. It may or may not be shared this year. We're still interviewing candidates and finalizing some of these positions that you see open here in the chart. Health and phys ed, that was shared last year. It may or may not be shared this year. So that process for these last remaining positions, the counseling department chair, that was shared last year and actually divided among 3 individuals, elementary, middle, and high school. And then we have the special education for the elementary, middle school. So again, they're not obligated to be shared, but oftentimes this is what our teachers choose to do. We have a few of these positions that are open. We will bring forward candidates that are recommended to fill those, either 1, 2, or in the case of counseling, maybe even 3, in October. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Russell. Are there any other comments or questions? Alrighty. So with that, we can vote. All in favor of approval of the consent agenda as presented?
Aye.
Against? Okay, the consent agenda is approved. Section 4 is education. Mr. McKinney.
Okay, so 4.01 was the education updates by Mr. Mitchell last week. 4.02, 4.03 are both on consent. 4.04, approval of translation service agreement to be implemented when providing translation services for students and family district-wide. Cost not to exceed $10,000.
And you can actually make that motion, Mr. McKinney.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
4.05 was the enrollment report, again, which we received last week. 4.06
Can we-
is,
Sorry, because you asked last week. So charter enrollment has gone up this year compared to last year. Is there any is there any feedback on why we saw a larger jump than in years past?
Know why, the reason people just opted to enroll in charter schools, I don't know.
We only have theories at this point. We don't necessarily reach out to these students and survey them as to why they shift schools. We have in the past made some efforts to recruit students back, especially if they're going to a cyber charter school,
Yeah.
because we offer the same thing. The fact that, and you mentioned this last week, that there's been an increase in the enrollment this year versus last year prompted me to think about us doing that again this year and pursuing these students because of the tuition we pay to the charter schools versus what we would be paying for them to attend here.
Correct. When I first joined the board, we had talked about that, and there was an outreach to try to, get people back into the school district. Maybe we could reduplicate, even if it's a snail letter that goes out, just to reduplicate those efforts to try to bring people back.
I completely agree, and if we have the right, if we present the conversation in the right way, I'm really hoping the outcome would be some of our students attend here and drop out of the charter school.
Yeah. Now, just correct me, the enrollment charter information doesn't tell us how many are actually cyber, right? It just,
No, it does not. Now Mrs. Hurd actually has,
no, I think it does.
oh,
It is broken down on the charter school enrollment report.
cyber versus non-cyber, okay.
it is, I'm sorry, because the schools, we are aware of the schools because we pay them the tuition. And there it is. So most of them are attending a cyber school.
Yeah.
Versus a bricks and mortar charter. Could be.
So I think it was 2 years ago, the board passed where I'm thinking Cumberland County, maybe I'm wrong, where we merged with Cumberland County for cyber school.
Warren County, right, for elementary, yes.
If you are a resident of Perkiomen Valley and you Google cyber school, will that be the first thing that comes up? Or will it be a charter school? So for instance, maybe sometimes it's in the sales apparatus. Like I'm in sales. If you Google what I do for a living, I want my company to be the first thing that pops up. When a resident types in charter school, does our charter school show up first, or do we need to do something in the marketing schematics to get ourselves up in those Google charts? That way a parent knows we offer a cyber school.
So, interesting question. We're not a cyber school, so we wouldn't come up as a charter school. Excuse me, we're not a charter school. So if individuals were Googling charter schools, we wouldn't come up. However, we do have virtual learning opportunities for our students, and we have a few students that are enrolled in our virtual programming. At the elementary level, we subscribe to Warren County, which is a school district in Pennsylvania, actually, but they provide a little bit more attention in terms of the teacher of record and the interaction with students than some other cyber charter schools, which is why we subscribe to them, really trying to support our students a little bit more in that environment.
So forgive me, but we are a cyber school, correct? We do offer a cyber program.
We offer a virtual program, yes, yes. We
And-
call it a virtual program, but yes. Viking Virtual, yeah. That's
But-
correct.
Part of the issue with Google searches on a cyber school is the cyber school is allowed to essentially advertise and set up so that their Google search
Sure.
goes to the top.
Yeah.
That's the advantage that they have
Yep.
over us.
PA
And
Virtual, Achievement House, Algoria Cyber.
correct, our tax dollars go towards their marketing.
Correct. Is there anything we could do in the future to let parents know that if they're looking for that virtual option, right, that we have that ability to handle their needs?
Yes.
And it could be in similar, just, hey, we're sending you a letter. We know you chose X. We want to let you know Y is the alternative.
Or a postcard mailer or something
Right.
like that. It could be part of a conversation in the community forum.
Right, right. We can absolutely market our virtual opportunities a little bit more effectively so that we keep them here. And they can participate in virtual instruction as a Perkiomen Valley student from home, if that's what they choose. For some students, that works better. Or we have a setting here in the high school that supports their work. And we have a teacher that's there as an advisor in addition to the teachers of record in the system as part of the virtual instruction and the curricula that we subscribe to. So yes, we can absolutely market that a little bit more.
Because the numbers for Renaissance are identical. 33, 34. So it's really the cyber that's gone up.
Yeah. We'll follow up.
Thank you, Mr. Saylor, for your query and your comments. So moving on to 4.06, approval of 2024-2025 assessment schedules as presented. I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
And that is my section, Ms. White.
Thank you, Mr. McKinney. Section 5, Business, Dr. Weston.
Thank you. Item 5.01, we had the Finance Committee of the Whole report last week. Mr. Weaver, do you have anything to add?
I do. Thank you, Dr. Weston. Item 5.15 addresses the addition to the board agenda. No good deed goes unpunished. Last week, we said everything seemed to be in order, and by 48 hours later, we had no electric at the high school. So, again, good work by Mr. Fabrizio and the team to make sure that we replaced it in time, moved forward with everything in order, and topped it off with working with Mr. Subers to make sure everything was legal, and it is. So that's what's presented tonight.
Any questions or discussion on that? I guess we'll come to that in due time. Items 5.02 through 5.12 are all on consent. Item 5.13, the grants and donation report. There is no grants and donations for September. Item 5.14, the approval of independent consultant agreement. This is a request to ratify an independent consultant agreement as presented. The recommended action is a motion to approve, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions?
Should not say ratified. It's not a ratified. Does it matter? It's not a ratified, it's an approval. It says ratified. Should we change it? Okay.
Okay, so there was a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
And then item 5.15, approval of vendor to replace high school transformer. This is a request to approve and ratify CM3 to replace the high school transformer at a cost not to exceed $212,419. Cost will be covered by an existing ESCO program refund credit created by the natural gas pipeline project at Middle School West. The recommended action is a motion to approve, and I so move.
Second.
Can there be discussion on that?
Of course.
Just out of curiosity, what when the power went out, how long did, because we have backup generators, how long did it take for the backup generators to kick in?
Mr. Fabrizio, if you'd like to join the conversation.
It was my understanding it was immediate. I don't think the
It
kids
was,
felt
but
it
the
at all.
generator only
Right.
handles so much load on it.
That was the
and I know
report
Mr.
I got.
yeah.
I don't know.
So the generator only powers emergency circuits. So we have no chillers, no HVAC, no rooftop units, no air movement in the school. The life safety systems were online. The fire panels are all on generator. But the function, we would not have any working lights in all the rooms. There's only spot, emergency lighting throughout the building.
Is that when, I mean, how early did we get notified that there was a problem?
We saw something going on around midnight.
Around midnight?
Yeah,
Okay. And so the backup generators had come on fairly quickly at that point?
they do come on quickly.
Okay. The one question, and I think it's probably a comment, is the size of the transformer. How were you able to find one that size that quick?
So we lucked out. We have an electrical contractor on site working on the chillers, and they heard pretty much it sounded like an explosion when they were right next to what's called the blast wall around the transformer, and looked over to see what it was. Why Pico re-energized our fuse down in the woods. At that point, we determined it was, well, through further testing, it was an internal failure of the transformer. So with just calling around and knowing people, we made it happen.
So how many groups of people were actually involved in getting that thing up and running? 'Cause it looks like it was a big project.
There was a lot. So we had the electricians on site, Pico on site. We had an independent testing lab to certify the failure of the transformer and to certify the new transformer. They have to test the oil in it to make sure there's no PCBs. They have to test all the electrical output of all the phases of the new one. We had a crane operator involved. We had our staff shutting down rooftop equipment so it wouldn't surge when we threw the power back on. So it was probably 12 to 15 people. So it was quite the effort.
Remarkable effort. Thank you very much.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. One other thing, I did find out that apparently lines in underground might also explode, so they had to test those as well, which was kind of fascinating, but I just pay for it.
Okay. Yeah. Just everybody knock. Okay. Mr. Dr. Liggett? Oh, I'm so sorry. Mr. McGill? You have to, sorry. Are we allowed to comment? It's open, yes, it's the finance of the whole, absolutely.
Bill McGill. I'm a resident in Perkiomen Township, third grade teacher at Evergreen, and the PVEA president. Just a quick question about the backup generator. I know it only handles spot lighting and all that. Will it also handle like refrigeration in the kitchen and keep all the stuff in the freezer and the refrigerators fresh during that period of time, or is that something that maybe the board needs to think about in the future? Thank you.
So the answer to the question, just for the purposes of the recording, is that the backup generators do indeed handle all essential components for building operation, correct?
Well, it looked like it just from the way I gauged looks, it didn't look like there was an agreement there with that answer.
So when the generator kicked on, we also had a failure of the freezer at the high school, which we did not notice. So yes, it is on generator, the freezer at the high school, and the walk-in refrigeration box.
What about at his school?
I believe so. We're investigating that now to make sure, and we're adding remote temperature sensors to all the walk-in boxes at every school. That's on their way now. So we get notified immediately when we drop below a
certain temperature threshold.
Was the problem with the transformer someone's fault?
No,
Not Pico's fault?
no. It was just an internal failure. No, they do fail.
So I just want to recognize, because Mr. Fabrizio has brought it up and the question's been posed, that the freezer at the high school ended up failing, and I want to recognize that North Penn School District allowed us to transport some of our food over there and store it, and we were extremely appreciative that they allowed us to do that between Thursday and Friday so that we did not lose food, and we were thankful. So just to give them a shout out, we really appreciate their collaborative approach with us.
So Dr. Russell, that's an excellent point. I'd also like to recognize Kelsey Gartner, because what else do you do when the power goes out and you get a delivery of food? You panic, but she did not, and she called around and she worked her contacts to get a lot of help from North Penn to handle the bulk of the delivery. That was the delivery day. North Penn was coming off of the weekend. They happened to have some space and she worked it out. So that's where the bulk of our stuff was stored while the refrigeration got fixed and the electricity came back on. Great work by food service. And Joe, again, can't say enough, just paired up together.
And we couldn't really offload to our other schools because we just took deliveries like the day prior. So we were, stocked up, no room.
Is there any way or ways that something similar to that, like a situation like that, can be preemptively avoided?
So we do preventative maintenance. We have a schedule set up for our high voltage gear. I mean, that's the best we can do is just PM everything and just to make sure it's operating at top efficiency. It's like everything, it all fails. It's just a matter of when. So we do our best to, be proactive.
Sometimes you have a foobar, you can't control it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Weston? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes. Okay, so this was the motion to approve the vendor to replace the high school transformer. We had a motion, we had a second, we had conversation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Weston.
Not a problem, Ms. White. That concludes section 5.
Sounds like a skit from Clue.
Section it sort of is. Payment of bills, Mr. Keenan, section 6.
All right, 6.01, I make a motion for ratification of bills and payroll and authorization of payments for the period ending August 31st, 2024.
Motion, a second? Second. Wonderful. Any conversation? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
All right, thank you. And 6.02, I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and financial statements for the period ending August 31st, 2024.
There's a motion, is there a second?
So moved.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
That ends my section.
Thank you, Mr. Keenan. Professional personnel, I will go ahead and read that. There are no resignations or retirements for September. Section 7.02, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all on consent, and that ends section 7. Section 8, support personnel, Mr. Saylor.
Ms. White, my section is on consent, so that ends my section.
Thank you, Mr. Saylor. Section 9 is governance. We had the policy meeting, as I mentioned, prior to this meeting at 6 p.m., and that ends that section. Section 10 is closing items. Comments from the audience, 10.01. Anyone from the audience has a opportunity to speak for 3 minutes on any topic of their choosing. Just state your name and municipality. Open the floor. Seeing none. 10.02, comments from board members. Mr. Saylor.
Yes. I don't want to end the meeting on a downward note or a negative note, but obviously, as a school board member, last week was a little tough for any school board member, any parent, or any teacher in the United States, and then the news that happened today in New Jersey. Just want to remind parents who might listen to this meeting, or student reps and the board members, our functional worst nightmare is right around the corner. We just don't know when it's going to happen. I'm really glad that we have individuals from school security to school police officers to a safe to say system in Pennsylvania that will do all that it can to track these issues. We have teachers and staff that are willing to put themselves in harm's way to protect the student body. We have student representatives and student leaders throughout our school district that remind other students that there are ways to find help, to get help, and parents that are actively monitoring what is going on in their child's lives. But I urge everyone to pay more attention.
Thank you, Mr. Saylor, sincerely. And so is there any other board member that has a comment? I concur completely. We've had a rough couple weeks. Obviously, this week will also be very heavy for a lot of families, given September 11th is on Wednesday. I appreciate that the district is taking the step to have that acknowledgement and that moment of silence. And Dr. Russell, I also want to say thank you for putting out a message to the community regarding the incident that happened in Georgia. And I just want to thank all of the teachers and staff, honestly, for every single thing that they do every single day. Because as parents, when you're pulling up and dropping off, it's literally the last thought in my mind as you see your kid walking into the building. So much appreciation for everything that you do every day. Okay. That was an appreciation comment. That wasn't negative. It was very nice. Okay. 10.03, notice of video disclaimer. 10.04, adjournment. We did not have an exec session today, and so I adjourn. See you next month. Oh, I'll see you at committees.